Hi, third graders, it's Mrs. Yost, and I get to share with you how to complete and do your research for today's slides. Today is one of my favorite days. We get to go search for pictures of my animal, as you can see here from my example. Remember, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Sowash, and I decided to research the giant panda. And you can see that I've already added some pictures of my animal, the giant panda, here on the first slide so you can see some examples. Also, I want to note that I've added some credits, and I'm going to explain how you could do that if you're ready for that challenge. The next slide talks about what does your animal look like. So if we're going to write about what our animal looks like, I'm going to have to do some research to find that out. But look, I also get to add a picture on the second slide today. So what do the slides that you need to complete look like? Well, let's take a look. Oh, all there is on this one is the title. That means I get to add and move around the pictures to put them where I want them and decide how many I want. Really, 3 ended up feeling really good on mine. Maybe if I cropped them, I'd put more, but they start to get really small. So you want to think about that when you're deciding. Okay, the next one tells me some directions. And I'm noticing that in the speaker notes, there's some extra information or questions I can be thinking about. All right, this slide says, what does your animal look like? Descriptively write about what your animal looks like. Write 3 to 5 sentences describing what your animal looks like here. So remember, when we have these bars around the words, when I come into that, that means there's a text box here. I'm going to be able to highlight that and just start typing right over it. I never want to copy words directly from a website where I research because I need to put it in my own words here. What does it mean? What does it look like? Let's look down here at the speaker notes to get some more ideas. Looks include things like, does the animal have fur or no fur? What kind of teeth? What are the eyes like? Are the ears a special shape or size? Is the animal bigger than a person or smaller than a bread box? What's a bread box? Well, people used to put a box on their counter and they'd store their bread in it so the bread didn't go stale. So it's about the size of a loaf of bread. Does the animal have paws or hooves? Oh, so that's kind of like how does it, I'd be thinking about how it gets around. And hooves and paws are pretty different. A lot of times paws also have claws on them. That would be kind of interesting to find out more about. Oh, this gives me a better idea of some of the things that I need to know. Okay, so let's start on the slide that says pictures of my animal. Mrs. Sowash already showed us how to use the insert tool on the toolbar to insert an image from the web. And we would do that right here. But when we do this, friends, it doesn't tell us or allow us to say where it came from. So that's the simple way to add photos, and then you won't be doing photo credits. If you're wanting to try a different way to do that, I'm going to open a new tab that has a Google search. In the search, I will type in giant panda images. Okay, so it's showing me images, but also I could pick images up here, and then it's going to show me a whole lot of really cool panda images. And I can also start to see where they came from. So I like this image here, giant panda species from WWF, worldwildlife.org. Let's click on that and actually go to see the picture. The picture is actually right on this page. Now, let's see. If I wanted to use that image, I would want to maybe refine my search just a little bit. I do have safe search on. You want to make sure you have safe search on. Okay, so that's helpful. And that's probably enough here. And now I have this open. So I can now use my mouse and right click, and it says copy image. So I could copy that image and then come back over to my pictures and click anywhere on here. And then I could use the hotkeys, Control V or right click to add the image. Whoa, it covered up my whole title. This one looks like it could be a good one to crop. So I can click the crop image in the toolbar, and now it's outlined in black. And if I drag from the side, not when it shows the 4 arrows, but only when it shows the left arrow, and drag it over. And I could even crop it over here from this side. That would look pretty good. Then I could move it and resize this image. Okay, but I went and did an image search on a separate tab so that I could tell you the location the image came from. So now I need to go back over to that tab, and I can see here, when I right click again, the fourth option says copy image address. So I'm going to do that. I come back over to my slide, and now down here in photo credits, I'm going to paste the image address. Probably doesn't need to be in size 18 font. Maybe size 12 would be enough. Now, it won't be an exact link until I hit enter. Now that it's underlined and in kind of that bright purpley blue, it's actually a link. And when I go there, it will pop up the exact image that I had used. So it shows where the image came from. Okay, so that's a way to show where did I get my information. I didn't take this photo. This photo came from this website, and people know where it came from because they can see it right here. The other way to do that is on this page to copy the website that we took the image from. Okay? You always want to be giving credit. All right, so you are going to have a lot of fun doing that. You'll get to also add an image here on the second slide. What does your animal look like? But we should probably think a little bit about the research that we need to do. Now, remember, we gave you slides to use to get your information from. So when I go to the daily slides here on Wednesday, I can see all the websites. Now, Giant Panda isn't at the Denver Zoo. So I know I need a little bit more information than was at the National Geographic Kids website. So I'm going to click on the second National Geographic. And when I click on that, it's going to open it in another image. Mrs. Sowash showed us Giant Panda, how I can click on Giant Panda, and it'll pull up Giant Panda. Now, friends, this photo arc was made by Joel Sartore, who wrote the article we read about A World Worth Saving. So these are, I think, his images. Isn't that cool? So this is a giant panda from the Atlanta Zoo. It's just fun to look back through the pictures again, isn't it? Maybe I could think about if I wanted to use one of those. All right, I'm looking for, what does it look like? Appetite for bamboo, behavior and habitat, breeding and population. So mostly here, I would be having to just look at the picture. So I'm thinking that one of the most distinctive things about the panda here, when I look at the pictures, is that it has the coloring. And look at the face. It's mostly white with black eyes, a black nose, and black ears. That seems like something that I really want to make sure people know. So that's actually what I started with my typing. What did I think was one of the most important things? Well, it looks like a bear and acts like a bear, so it's a bear. Giant pandas are only 2 colors, black and white. That sounds cool, but the coloring has some special features. The fur around a panda's black eyes are black, so it has 2 black eyes. Well, that's kind of my opinion. In addition, it has 2 black ears and a black nose. So those are all things that I just observed, and I'd been reading and found out it really was a bear, so I put that as my first sentence. All right, so I'm still thinking about it. In addition, it has 2 black eyes, ears, and a black nose. All right, well, the rest of this information actually came from a different site, friends, and that was a site where I got some of my information before, from this National Smithsonian Zoo. So I found some of my images before from that website, and I could actually go there and find out more about the panda. And on the facts sheet page, it has physical description right at the top. And it talked more about how the fur is really important and where the black coloring is, and maybe that it's used for camouflage, but maybe not. And then later on, I kept reading, and it was talking a little bit about how pandas are so interesting because they are solitary. And so they mostly stay by themselves, and scientists think that's a reason that it doesn't really have much facial expression. Like, they've observed pandas in a zoo and their faces don't change very much. And that's the information that I then used for my next part. So I was really careful to stop and think, and it might help you to tell someone out loud what you're thinking before you write it down or type it. So I said about the ears, although it doesn't seem to help them hear better, its front and back legs are black. The black is on the front legs, chest, and upper back. The rest of the panda is white. The panda blends in with bamboo, forests, and snow. I didn't want to use the word camouflage because I didn't have much space, so I chose blends instead. Okay, so I'm done with typing in my information, and I've added all my pictures. So that means that I'm ready to go back to Google Classroom and turn it in. Don't forget that very important step.